All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man, Jay Wills. This is the full review of the HTC U11 Life. Now, this phone right here is a super affordable phone that's offered by T-Mobile. As you can see, it follows the same guidelines as every other HTC device, which meaning you have the HTC Sense, runs smooth. You've got a nice display. You've got killer cameras. I've already reviewed these cameras, and I'll be sure to link those down below. But one thing is that remains the same is HTC has become consistent on the type of device that they actually bring us when it comes to quality. So while this phone has the plastic build, and it doesn't have the metal build of the other HTC devices, here's my U Ultra. I actually have a skin on that one, carbon fiber for some grip. But nonetheless, it still gives you a beautiful design. This is plastic, but it's still a beautiful design. They did have to sacrifice a few things in order to bring you this device at $300. And the one of the main things they sacrificed was that build quality. Now, the build quality on this thing, again, it's plastic. And I think it might have a metal chassis down under there somewhere, but this is pretty much a plastic device. But where they didn't sacrifice was the cameras on here. The cameras on this phone are nothing short of extraordinary. I'm telling you from experience, people who have this phone can vouch for me and tell you that the cameras on here rival phones that cost 3 times the cost, or it even rivals the bigger brothers, like these phones right here and the one I'm recording with, which is the HTC U11. Another place they sacrificed was the stereo speakers. So they don't have stereo speakers, but at least they did a bottom firing speaker, and they put it in the center. And to my surprise, it actually sounds kind of good, kind of hollow. But you know, it's not gonna, you can't have it all, I guess, for $300. But I would rather have a not so great speaker and have the cameras that this phone has than the other. So another place that they didn't have to sacrifice was battery life. Now, this has a 2600 milliamp hour battery or something like that, and it's great. It lasts all day. There's absolutely no getting around it. This phone, because it's only pushing a 5.2-inch 1080p display, and so you've got that Snapdragon 630 in here with 3 gigs of RAM. So it's not pushing, you know, the battery isn't having to work too hard, so it's going to be able to do it. So, you know, with that being said, I'm getting great battery life. I mean, 5 to 6 or so hours of screen on time. And as far as standby goes, it's fantastic. You know, it's a good purchase. They did, however, you know, they shrunk the screen down to 5.2 as I was speaking about the screen. And, you know, that's something I guess they decided to do. It is like a light version. They named it the Life, but sometimes I say light. But, you know, this is what they did. So this is just what it is. So nothing to cry home about that. It's still a 5.2-inch display, which is still a big display when you think about it. People now require so much. And to put it into perspective, I'll grab the iPhone 10 here. As you can see here how big the display is. So that's still a pretty big display. I mean, I don't see why it's not considered a big display. 5.2 inches. 5.2 inches is a huge display on a smartphone. I have big phones, and I get it a lot. People always say, man, that phone it's a big phone, but you make it look small in your hands. Well, I've got big hands. And with that being said, the footprint of this phone, it's big enough. It's pretty much the same footprint as my iPhone 10, but obviously it's not an all-screen display. Now, also another place they did not have to sacrifice is the fingerprint reader. It actually does have a fingerprint reader, which is crazy fast from what I look at here. That's actually pretty good. That's the fingerprint reader. I think that's pretty fast. The fact that it has one and is considered a mid-range device, it's good. It's good. As you can see there as I demo for you, it's good. Plugging in, another place where they didn't have to sacrifice are the Usonic headphones. Now, they give these, they say that they're free, you know, in the box, but I think they should just be included because there's no headphone jack, and so you're gonna have to use the Type-C connector there. But let me tell you, when you plug in that Type-C connector, you are gonna be blown away at the sound that comes from this device. Pause. Amazing sound quality. It sounds just as good as any other phone. And some people might ask about the U11. It sounds just as good as that. It really does. So, I mean, I don't think they sacrificed in a lot of areas, but the areas that they did sacrifice in, it's working for them. So yeah, it doesn't feel premium. You don't have the boom sound, but you do have the Usonic headphones, and you do have the same high quality DAC from what I can understand. You have a great screen. You have fantastic cameras. I mean, phenomenal cameras. Unheard of that a lot of phones in this price range could have these type of cameras. Now, there's also other cameras that are less, that do the phones that cost less that rival this phone. So, yeah, the Mi A1 definitely rivals this phone and beats it out, if you ask me, in a lot of areas. So the price point on here is $300. Is it worth $300? I'll leave that up to you. But when I feel this phone and when I hold it in hand, I kind of give this phone a $225 price tag or a $199 price tag, only because after using it for extended use, it just feels like it shouldn't cost $300. It feels almost hollow. It's almost too lightweight. But you know, it's $300. That's still a low price. And I'm telling you, for the things that you are getting, you'll be able to determine whether you think it's worth $300. But when I feel this phone, because I haven't been using a case, when I feel it, I only feel like $199. You know, I only feel like $199, $225 tops. But that's just me. So the U11 Life, it's a major go. It's a major win. I think the only drawback that I don't like is probably the feel in hand. The build quality feels cheap after using it for a while every day. And then also the price, I don't see myself wanting to pay $300 for this. Maybe $199, like I said before, but I'll leave that up to you. There's a lot of things to highlight about this phone. I mean, again, I can't stress it enough. The cameras, the fingerprint reader, you know, the Usonic headphones, the battery life, the efficiency of the operating system. I mean, it's super smooth. Sense UI works good on here. One thing I don't really cover in a lot of my videos is phone calls, SMS, and things like that, because, you know, I'm not having any problems with that. But if you just want to hear me say it, a lot of people say, well, what about phone calls and text messages? Flawless. Works great. So this is the T-Mobile version. They do have a version through HTC, but you'll pay more if you order it directly through HTC. It's $350 through them, and it's $300 through T-Mobile. And I don't know if this is a promo price right now on T-Mobile, but hey, it is what it is. So it's your man Jay Will. Full review for the HTC U11 Life. Look for a follow-up video on this phone because I do have a SIM card in here. I'm actually using it. You know, this phone is still fantastic. And I want to answer a question for, I think her name was, let me get her name. I don't want to butcher anything. Her name is Miss Tech Not Fancy. She asked about this phone being $400. Should she get it, or should she get this phone? Now, it's just my opinion, but I would tell a person to grab the U Ultra over this phone, based on what I just said. Now, I know you're going to pay a little bit more, but here's the catch. If you wait until Black Friday, this phone will probably go down. I don't think this phone will go down. So there are a lot of good options out there in the $300 price range. This is probably one of the top options in the $300 price range, but that doesn't mean I want to spend $300 on this phone. Like, I'm not saying that it's worth $300. Again, I've gone over it. I don't want to beat the horse up. It's your man Jay Will. Full review. HTC U11 Life. I give it about a 7.5 out of 10. It's really good. It's your man Jay Will. Take care.